Welcome to MT100. This is a new unit and it's an exciting one, and hopefully that you gain a lot of learning out of this and will just help your practice as an emerging teacher. So I thought I'd go through some of the elements of the unit because it is different. As we go through, you'll read about the structure of the assessment process, and the learning that we do is what I call in an independent study mode. It'll come clear as we go, but essentially there will be no lectures. I'll be your supervisor. And so we will have a virtual, also if needed, a face-to-face catch-up once every 2-3 weeks and just check on how you are going as you progress through. I'm a supervisor as opposed to your lecturer. So where does the learning and the gathering of information come from? Well, it's an independent study, so you'll be an independent, autonomous learner, and you'll seek the information through the literature. You'll translate that information, and the last bit you'll see is a demonstration of a strategy. So let's go through. The top part of the unit is just really all the information about what it's called and so on, how it fits into the course. It's rationale. Here it is. It's self-directed. It's an investigation, and you're going to examine a contemporary high-quality teaching strategy. That's what we're going to dive into. So it's mathematics applications and extensions. So we're looking for what are the applications? How do you teach maths in an engaging, high quality way? So it's in a classroom context is one part of the assessment. So the content aligns with that. There's a contemporary one. We're looking at scholarship, bit of research, some higher order mathematical teaching, and we're going to do a demonstration. And the learning outcomes correspond to the rationale and the content. We all like it. We all like this time. Better spell assessment correctly. So the assessment is one task. It's 100% task. Oh, gee, that's a bit different. Yes, it is, but it is actually a progression. So it has 3 parts. Now, let's have a read of the nuance of what I'm saying here. So it's one final report of 100%, and it's due when the last part C is due. So it's developmental progression of A, B, and C towards a final submission, which includes all parts. So you'll do part A, later you do part B, and you'll do part C, and you collate it together, and that's your submission, and that's what I'm marking. But along the way, I'm calling them progress submissions. So you must do the progress submissions, and remember we're catching up every fortnight to 3 weeks to say how you're going, and you'll put them in turn it in as per normal, and I'll give you some feedback, probably something like this, a video feedback of what you've done, and you can take that feedback and change your part. In other words, I'm your supervisor giving you critical feedback and advice. So you can take that on board and rewrite, tune up your part A, B, and C submission. So, and then you submit it fully at the end, and I mark it fully inclusive, so with the changes that you've made. So when you submit your progress submission, it's a draft. So going through what they are, so you're doing a scan of academic scholarship in the areas of mathematical teaching strategies. And it's called through the format called a annotated bibliography. And I've got down there, it's also what we call a rapid review, form of an annotated bibliography. That means what you do is you read an article, you find it, this is a good one. You write a short annotation, that's 152 or 150 words, and I've given you a template to how to do that. And you write about it, you summarize it, you give some critical thinking on it, and where you reference it correctly. Well, that's a short annotation. A moderate annotation, you'll choose, the 4 to 5 articles where it's actually slightly more a richer explanation, so there's more word counts, and you'll do those. So around about the 10 articles. So you read, you write about, read, you write about, read, you write about for about 10 articles. That's part A. It's what we might call a very quick literature review. Part B is you select one of the strategies that you came across in your readings, and you then go deeper. So you're going to produce something of 1,000 words now on one particular strategy. Now, it doesn't have to be one article. No, it's one strategy. You might have read a couple of articles on that strategy. So you research it a little bit more on one strategy and you submit that. Part C, okay, is a demonstration and a critique. So you'll demonstrate in a classroom PEP context the strategies that you investigated in task 2. You then video record what those are. You'll edit the video down to so many minutes, okay, and then you'll self-critique, and you'll have a peer of the group to give you critique also. So it contains the video, yourself and peer critique, and your overall reflection out of it. And again, it's 1,000 words with the video. So overall, it's a 30-30-40. Now, I won't be able to give you feedback on Part C because when Part C is due, everything is due. But you put those 3 things together and submit it. And what I have here in the elaboration is more information. For example, in your scan, here is the boxes you need to fill in for those things. So it's the summary, the application, and the evaluation of how effective that you think that is. Here's your strategy, and here's the areas I'd like you to explore in across that. Okay. And here's your demonstration, what things you need to do, what does your self and peer review have to do, where you have to actually peer review, you have to peer review the strategy effectiveness and your delivery effectiveness. They're 2 slightly different things. They're related, but they're 2 slightly different things. And you submit those things. So just to recap and summarize what it is in terms of the learning, you're going to dive into scholarship material and academic literature. Do a scan of that literature about that 8 to 12 group, short and moderate annotated bibliographies of it. So it's annotating means describing, as I showed you in the table, the key aspects of it. You'll then choose one strategy and dive deeper. And then you'll demonstrate that strategy in the classroom and critique yourself and a peer to say, how did that go? How is it effective? So the development and progressions, we're going to look at a lot, funnel down to 1, and then show what it is and say, yep, it worked. No, it didn't work. What worked well, what didn't work well, sort of thing overall. So it's an independent study, and I look forward to working with you. Probably once a fortnight we'll catch up online and go through the various aspects. You can ask questions. I'm going to ask you about how you're going, how many articles you've read, any issues with your bibliography, for example, and your submission. So take on board all the feedback, and you can recraft it into your final submission. I think we're going to have a good time working together. So look forward to seeing you online or in person. As we do, dive into mathematics.